Next.
Good
Except for
morning,
Winston.
Winston.
Good morning. Yeah,
Sheila,
Winston,
good
you're
morning.
always front row. You're always front row center. I don't know. That's because you get here early or what?
Because we love him.
Yeah.
He's
All right.
trying to
It is
unmute
time.
himself.
Great turnout. Let's go ahead and turn on the recording, please, Alyssa.
All right.
Welcome to our many agents and investors nationwide. Thank you for coming today. Today is Thursday, February 8th, 2024. And this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 466. Bruce, I got no opening stories today, so take it away.
Amazing. So just to jump on top of what Jim said, 466, we're close to 500 calls, almost in a row, we are here for those of you that are All the Lead subscribers or considering getting into the probate space. If you're looking for some coaching, you have questions, you have wins, success stories based around your probate business, we want to hear about those. So we host this every Thursday. Just in case you don't know, if you're here, you probably already know. But every Thursday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, 10 o'clock Pacific. And if you're Central or Mountain time, you're not invited. And just in case anyone thinks I'm serious, because Tim's shaking his head, you are invited. So,
hey, Bruce, why is it almost in a row? I don't think we ever missed a week.
Yeah, we've missed a week.
Not unless it was a holiday.
Yeah, exactly. We've missed.
Oh, okay, yeah. If it falls, Thursday falls on Thanksgiving, we don't do the call.
Jim's very literal. Jim is extremely literal.
Sure.
Right. So, guys, we want to hear from you all, and this call is for you. If you've had that question that's on your mind about either getting started, what to say on the phone, what kind of letters to send out, what your team needs to look like, how to build attorney relationships. I'm just dropping ideas here. There's a lot of things that you can do in your business. And if you've had these questions, we do want to hear those questions. If we don't get questions, then the call goes short, or you get to hear us pontificate about something that you might not be interested in. So I want you guys to raise your hands, whether you're seasoned or you're new in this space. It doesn't matter how basic or advanced the call is. We'll hear from you guys. There's a lot of seasoned agents and investors on this call that have been working the probate niche for a long time. I guarantee we probably have an answer for any question that you have. If you are watching on live stream, YouTube or Facebook, obviously you can't raise your hand and vocalize your question like they can here on Zoom. So I want you guys to chat your questions in underneath of the live stream. We are monitoring that. It'll come and we'll be able to answer your question here on the air. So with that said, I want to find out if our two owners have anything to say. Jim or Tim, do you guys have anything to add before we start going to questions or topics this week?
Nope, take it away. I can't remember the last time we didn't go 2 or 3 minutes over. So you guys always come through. You don't start off strong, but halfway through or 3/4 of the way through, we always get some really good points of topic. So nothing new for me.
Okay.
So you're saying they don't do well in the beginning, but they get better. Is that it?
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I was going to say is I think it probably what Alyssa said in the beginning, it's important. I don't know if Tyler Wiley is on here right now, but he's been on the last couple, 3 weeks, and he's a new sub in Kentucky, and he's trying to build a team. And he's building not only a probate team, but he's doing it with a professional networking team at the same time. And I think that's probably an interesting idea. It's a great way to maybe start your own professional networking group. And if you want to talk about that a little bit, I think that would be great if we can get to it. But certainly my bigger view here is I would love to hear from everybody about what's going on. So we want to make this as encouraging as we can. Get your hands up. Tell us about what's going on in your marketplace. Check in, say hi. We want to hear your voice.
I want to hear if anyone else has done this through networking groups. for one, did a lot of hosted networking events, and I would have my probate vendor partners in those events. And my probate business partners would pay for co-hosting ability in the events that I would run. So that's something that was there. We've got a lot of different opinions on whether you provide value to your vendor partners for free or you charge them for things. There's no right or wrong way to do this. When I talk about having my vendors cover costs for me, I was always successful with it and making sure that a lot of vendors wanted in the door. So, for example, every month I'd have a business to business networking event, and I'd promote the event, and then I'd promote my vendors' businesses in that event. And they made a lot of connections, and for those connections and for promotion and basically being able to show up and say that they were a co-host of the event, many of them would pay a couple $100s a month, and they'd also get my shout outs inside of my marketing material going out to probate leads. So some of you may want to do something like that. I know, Ken, you're of the opinion that you give value, you give referrals, you're going to promote and mention your vendors regardless, and you're not asking them for anything. And I want to make it really clear that there's no perfect right or wrong way of doing this, but I do think that you guys need to be building your vendor list, and not only building it so that your people can live on a list, but building it so that you push your vendors' businesses. You push and promote the vendors that you're working with that you trust. If you trust them, you should be promoting their business, right? And you've got a great audience in your probate leads to be able to do that too.
Yeah. And Tim, is that something we could do with our letters? Can we put a vendor on the letter?
Sure.
Or is that something you'd even suggest to do? Because the thing with, like I was saying, with my, mainly I have one contractor that does my clean out, does my repairs. I have another one for selling people's items, estate planning people. But I'm always trying to get the best price whenever I call him to do anything. So to try to ask him for a stipend monthly, I just feel like he would push back on that and not like it. But I guess if you could add value, like, hey, I'm sending out 300 letters or I have 300 people a month I'm sending out letters to, and I'm sending them 6 letters, and I'm going to put you on there, then that might be a value that they would want to pay for. I never did any group get-togethers like you have done. So, obviously that's a show of value right there.
So one of the things that I would do, rather than just add them on a letter, so add a little line that says, "Oh, by the way, I like this estate sale company or this clean out crew," is I would drop an insert with their business into the letter that I'm already sending out. So the envelope has my message on a letter, and then there's a little card or an insert that says, "Oh, by the way, this is sponsored by," or one of my partners is this person attached on the little flyer or on the little note card or insert in the letter.
Hey, Bruce, kind of like we're doing for probate cash. That's exactly what we're doing for them.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Anybody's not aware of that, you might want to expand on that a little bit too. I'm not sure how many people use that.
We haven't talked about probate cash for a long time. And I guess this is a rabbit trail, but for those of you that don't know, Probate Cash is a company that can cash advance the heirs to the estates that you guys are working on. So if you're ever working on an estate and it's locked up in probate for the next 6 or 12 or 18 months, and some of the heirs want to unlock their inheritance now, you can get them a cash advance on the inheritance. All they have to have is a will, copy of the will, and they have to be in the probate process. And Tim may want to add a few extra stipulations in there. I'm not familiar with every single stipulation, but they will get they can get their full inheritance up front without having to wait for probate to close through cash advance. Tim, do you want to?
They won't get their full inheritance. They'll get potentially up to, I think the issue is they'll advance up to 75% of any any provable from a documentation standpoint. For example, let's just, give it a real world example. Let's suppose that it's possible to establish that the value of the estate is $500,000 and they want to get some money out of it. And for argument's sake, they want to get $400,000. They are willing to put up to $500,000 out. In other words, that's kind of their top threshold, any one customer in terms of doing this. It's a hedge fund that's behind it, but they'll advance that money as long as there is a provable legal link that says when that estate closes, the person that I'm advancing the money to is going to have the money to repay the advance. It's not a loan. It's not an interest rate based loan. It's based on time and availability. And it's very clear that it's an advance, not a loan. And if you're familiar with the payday loan business, it's that kind of a deal that it's a cash advance, not a loan. And that has some stuff to do with the laws about that. But the issue is doesn't even necessarily have to be that it's a piece of property in the estate. It could be that, there's some huge big piece of jewelry that was appraised, 6 months ago at $500,000 and it's there and they want to get that money out. They'll even advance against that as long as in the will, it's a condition of sale that it's got to get sold to close the probate or whatever. And they've got a team of people that will process that information for you. And at one point, this was like 2 months ago, we ran a special where they were subsidizing mail to our customers. So they were actually, Probate Cash paid us to print a flyer for them. And we made it available to all of our subscribers that if you wanted to piggyback it in your mail, Probate Cash would subsidize the cost of your mail. That program has expired. We'll still be happy to put the flyer in, but they're not subsidizing it anymore. They're kind of doing that on a quarter by quarter basis. And we've got another program we're working with them now on maybe the next quarter to do something. But it's a great opportunity to free up that cash for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And,
so that's
also don't want to neglect mentioning that, I'm sorry, Bruce, don't want to neglect mentioning that they pay a pretty generous commission too for you just referring to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to come through us to get the top end commission that they do. And you can earn a big chunk of change by doing it. And every time we do this, I think, I need to remember exactly what, the deal is. But go to our website to just alltheleads.com/cash advance probate cash. I think it's just probate cash, isn't it? I'm trying to remember.
Alyssa just posted it.
Okay,
Cash
good.
advance. Yeah.
But I think it's a good way to find the pain point. Like I said, I try to play doctor. Where does it hurt? What do you need done at the house? I try to get into action. So if they're struggling for money and you can alleviate that, I mean, whether they get the loan or not, it deepens the connection and then they see that you are trying to help them. So, pain is usually like they need to sell items out of the house. They need to get items trashed out, repairs, or they need money because now they're going to have to carry the mortgage. So it's just a great way to connect with people on your calls.
Super. Yep. That's great.
Yep.
Will, do you have a question about that issue? Yeah.
Will Foster,
go ahead,
unmute
Will,
yourself.
and unmute yourself. Oh, I think we just muted you on accident. Unmute.
Okay, yeah, it told me I can't unmute myself. But anyway, so I clicked on the link, and it's a registration form. So the $64,000 question is, if you put a little flyer in with your letter, how will they ever connect somebody who calls their 800 number to you for that referral fee?
Because we had in the flyer, we put a structure in there that linked it directly to you, that specific flyer.
Okay, so if they call that 800 number, they're going to know that it came from one of Will Foster's letter.
Yeah, we'll actually work through that with you. If you wanted to do it now and put something like that together, let your MIS know, and we'll put it so that when that comes back to them and they get it, they'll know that it came from you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And just to touch on that again quickly, all of our probate websites, all of our credibility websites come with that probate cash info page and form free. So if you have a website with us, it's automatically going to be something you have access to.
Awesome. Mine is almost done. I just got my first look-see at it, and they got a couple tweaks, but mine's almost done.
Perfect.
But a great way to drive people to the website. I mean, again, you want them to look at that because that builds your credibility. But hey, if they need cash, send them the website link right there, and then you're gonna have them sign up for probate cash and get that extra commission, but you're also going to build credibility because they're going to see that you have that website.
Yes, sir. Cool. Thanks.
Yep.
And just we keep mentioning kind of obvious things, but it's not only for cases where maybe the heirs might need cash right away. The property might be in disrepair, and borrowing money to fix it up, they may get a 2 or 3x, return on their money, selling it cheap to an investor versus fixing it up and selling it at retail. So there's a lot of different ways that that can be used.
For sure.
Yep. All
Yeah,
right.
Again, that this house I just bought, I got about $100,000 discount on it. I mean, the really main thing that needed to be done is the pool needed to be fixed up. He got an estimate of like 14 grand. I brought in my contractor and I got an estimate of 7,000, which shows you got to know the right people. If you are on the investor side, but if he had taken that cash, he could have got substantially more money out of it, and I gave him the option, but he didn't want to go for it. But some people will, see the benefit in it.
True. And I don't want to steer off of probate cash. We're here to answer the questions that you guys have on probate cash. That's good. I want to kind of tie it back in with the other vendor discussion that we were having before that came up. It's the same thing. If you guys are looking to subsidize some of your marketing material, you can discuss subsidizing that with your vendors. So one of the things that I like to do if I go to a new vendor is I'll tell them, look, this is what I'm doing. I'd like to promote your business and potentially market to it. What I would ask is if I get you some good leads or some calls over the next month or two, I would ask you to contribute to my contribute into the marketing campaign. Would you be okay with that? So if you want to prove yourself first before asking, that's totally fine. I probably wouldn't do that with the landscaper because the landscaper doesn't make a lot. But if you have people that you're quite confident that you can direct some business toward, then you may give them a little bit of a runway where they can see what you're doing, and then they could contribute the next time. So that's something. But I usually have my vendors, I'll provide lots and lots of value, and depending on who the vendor is, I'll ask for a monthly payment in order to promote their business to the leads that I get. And that could be done through networking, that could be done through mail, that could be done through videos that you do with your vendors, lots of different things. For those of you that are marketing savvy, just get creative with it. All right. So guys, we got plenty of room for questions. Plenty of room for questions. Let's see today.
And like I say to all you guys that I talk to, a lot of times, I know there's still more questions. This is the best place to get everybody's experience. Bruce, Tim, Jim, myself. If we talk, then it's only you and I. But if you ask questions on the podcast, then all the coaches get to answer your question. So, and then you could pick and choose which answer you like the best, or get a combination of the different answers that suit you the best. So yeah, questions are welcome.
We'll start giving stars out for the best answer, so you guys can tell us which one of us you think is the smartest. I think that's a great plan. We'll start fighting. It'll be great.
Well, you know it's a great plan because I'll get the most stars.
I'm sorry, your name is what? Bruce?
Roger Shields. Okay. Roger, I think that you had tried to raise your hand. It's not showing us your hand being raised. So I just asked you to unmute yourself if you have something
Correct.
to ask. Great. Shoot.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Great call today. I like the topic. I'm thinking I'm going to enclose like a newsletter with the vendors at the bottom, maybe something like that. On the reason I raised my hand was because I'm new to this, and I sent out my first batch of letters, and the first response I got was this young lady who was deeply offended that how could I possibly ethically be sending her to her place of business things regarding the estate. And I was driving and distracted. I wasn't quite sure who it was or what property she was referring to. But when I caught my breath, I realized, wow, this could be an amazing listing. I need to do some damage control. How do I approach this? And I thought I would wait for you guys to give me some great input on diffusing the situation. Basically, her business address. The other thing she got pissed off about was that on the tax records, the business address was on there, but it was partial, like the suite number was wrong or something. So what I did is I Googled the address and saw that it was a related party. And I went to the businesses, contact us, fill out a form. She's the owner, 99.99% sure, but I was still delicate on because I didn't know who would be reading her inbound mail on this. And I just kept it very vague and in line with the letter that I sent her. Hey, it's Roger Shields. I'm a realtor in South Florida. I'm here to help. And she called me based on that and was like really, really put out that it was unethical for me to be sending stuff like that.
Okay. So first
I
and
hope this helps
foremost,
everybody else too.
yeah, it does. Those do happen. They do happen. It's not frequent, and I both hate and like when this topic comes up because I don't want people to really shy away from marketing and pursuing this niche of business, because for every person like that there's another person who says, I couldn't have done this without you. This is the best thing I've ever seen. You're a lifesaver, and I could never do it without you. Okay, so
And
for every
she clearly hasn't come to that realization yet.
correct,
Because she's young, she's stressed. It's probably her mother that passed, and
Mhm.
she just was like venting on me, and I just let her talk and let her go. She needs
which is
help. She needs an attorney.
almost
She needs everything.
which is almost the way that I would suggest handling that person. That's kind of the lightning strike that you get every now and then, and it doesn't happen very often. For a lot of people, it'll never happen. For some of you, it's going to happen once every couple of months, but for many, it won't happen at all. And when it happens, I usually fall on my sword. I'll usually say, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that I might be perceived this way. That was not my intention. I'm so sorry." Okay.
Yeah.
And then let them talk. And a lot of times that I just fell on my sword will many times will get the person to go, no, it's okay. It's just a hard time. And then I've had people that have said that, and then they've started talking to me. It doesn't mean that they're ready to say, come over and sell the house. It doesn't mean that. But
Right.
it does mean that we broke down that harsh reaction.
Right.
So
Is
fall on your
is
sword, then let them talk.
and should I dare to call her back at the number she called me from, or should
How'd
I
you
try
end
to
the
do it in a letter?
How'd you end the call?
Just like, I'm really sorry. I'm not sure how this happened.
Mhm.
I'll look into it. And she's like, okay, fine. It was again, I was distracted driving while she
Sure.
was talking, but
that might
I think
be a time to send her a card. My condolences, my apologies, sorry for your loss. And then maybe try to reach back out to her. But
okay.
I will add to that too, though. I think Bruce is right. Fall on your sword. I mean, sometimes the fact that they're willing to open up and share with you how they're feeling, if you're willing to accept that and just kind of let it flow past you, and then get to a real conversation, you might have tried to be like, a question I ask all the time is like, oh my God, like, was it sudden, or did you know it was coming so you could prepare? Right? Because now you've asked a question that there's a good chance that person's going to respond to, no matter how upset they are.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
then you start engaging rather than just a furious attack on you. So just take that energy and switch it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
Yeah.
back up to the
Awesome.
letter itself for a second and let's just talk about that, because part of the reason you may have gotten this is that you said yourself, you're starting off by saying, hey, I'm Roger and I'm a realtor. And the part of this problem is that it makes it extremely obvious that the only real reason that you're doing it is because you want to buy or either want to list or buy that property. And one of the things that we've always said, and we sometimes lose track of in doing this, is we always talk about leading with value first. And I think part of the challenge here is that we've taught along the way that the way you avoid having this problem to begin with is that you really focus on the menu of services that you offer, and only one of them is the opportunity to deal with that real estate as a thing you make money on. Talk about all
Right.
the team that you've assembled, the services that you can provide. How can you help? How can you get this done? And that's the value that you bring to the equation. There are a lot of people out there that can list that property. There are a lot of people out there who might want to buy it, but you're bringing a slate of services to her. And I'd encourage you to potentially go back and take a look at your letter that you sent out and see if, in fact, you might want to reword that first letter a bit. If that's what you sent out and you're leading with that you're a realtor, you really want to lead more with services in the beginning. That's what helps takes that curse away and eliminates that problem. Same thing with a phone call. If you're following up with that, you're calling to see what kind of problems that they're having, not to go buy a house. And that's the key element.
Okay. I
Yeah.
totally get that. And what got her was that I filled out a form on her business contact us on their website.
Sure, I understand. And you could have
And
done
then in the
as well,
meantime,
too.
she's probably received a letter that was going by snail mail a couple days later.
Yeah, and I think
That did go into a non you know a very service oriented letter.
yeah, I think that's really the issue there. That's the most important thing is that, and that also gives you a reason to, call her back and talk to her and say, hey, I hope you got my letter and by now you've had a chance to read it, because realize that I certainly didn't just, I'm not a bottom feeder. I'm not out there doing that. I do have a whole list of things that potentially, it's what I do to help people that are dealing with this, and in the attempt to earn any business that you might have. Yes, I'm a realtor. Yes, I do this, but I put this together to provide a service first, and that's all that's going on. And are you having problems with anything? Is there anything I can help you with? And, put it right back on her. What are you having trouble with? Just like Ken said, where's the pain? I can help you. And you've already sent her a letter, she got it. So ask her if she read
So
it.
so I think I'll give her a call back and I'll say, hey, look, I did some homework on your concerns that you addressed on Saturday, and let's fix this problem and work it out with her, and then explain to her that, hey, I just wanted to help. Have a nice day. If there's anything else I can be of service to you with, just let me know. But if you don't want to hear from me again, I understand.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't even say that. I'd just say, I'm here to help you. And, I want to call you back and offer to, I want to make this better by showing you what I can do. Let's talk about this. Just take a very, very positive approach. All you better be assertive, take control of the situation, and just say, hey, I'm here to help you. Let's get this thing done. I want to fix it. And here's what I can do for you. And, start laying it out. Don't give her an opportunity to, be concerned. And I want to stop talking, but I do want to say this. It's also very, very important for you, everybody on the call, to realize that this is we haven't heard this in a while. It's been probably, at least a quarter or two since we've heard somebody, I had the lightning strike. We used to get it in the very beginning when we started the business. It happened more frequently. Because we've done what we've done with the training and the way we put our letters together and all of that, it happens far less frequently than it did, because we've learned and have taught you guys how to soften that up so that you're not walking in the door looking like, Simon Legree on a bad day trying to take a house away from widows and orphans. And, that's what you got to watch. We don't want to be perceived as an ambulance chaser. You really want to be perceived as a wonderful person trying to offer a service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to add real quick to that. Before I even outlined what I could do for her, I would just ask the question, what's been the most difficult part of this how can I help you? And let her give you permission to go ahead and, like Bruce always says, go ahead and present your plan. And she'll either tell you what she needs, or she'll say, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And that again is permission to go on. So I'd always start with a couple questions. Bruce,
So
sorry.
speaking of permission, perfect segue. And this is not a segue to something else. This is directly to Roger's question here. You've got someone that you're having to play a little bit of defense here and trying to backtrack. And I want to make it really clear when you get that person that calls you and they're upset. That was not my intention. I am really sorry. I didn't recognize that you might take it that way. I wouldn't say I didn't recognize that it could be taken that way, because it can. Okay. But that you might take it that way and then get permission. Could I tell you what it was really about? Or could I clarify what I was really trying to say?
Yep.
Okay. And now you already know that the approach of the letter is the wrong way. That's not what they want to hear. So you know what not to say now. Now you can go clarify and take a different angle to see if it might open up the opportunity. So it wasn't about the house. You know, I said that I was a realtor in the opening of that letter. It wasn't about the real estate. It was about the idea that probate's complicated and I have the connections and resources that can help. Okay. And now you've got a completely different angle of kind of attack to be able to go at that conversation with. So I would ask permission. Could I kind of tell you what I really meant when I sent the letter? Yes. Okay. And now you open up and you can kind of present a different type of unique selling proposition.
That's
I mean,
great. That was really well
the
done.
other thing with that though, and again, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but there's so many leads in that we get. If somebody's like a very aggressive and they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't want anything. I got the wrong number. Goodbye. Click. Like, because I don't need anything. My business is great. I'm connecting with people that want to talk to me, that want my help. I know I'm an expert and I find those people. Like, so if you're too aggressive, like, I don't need anything from you. Goodbye. Some people are just going to be angry. Like if somebody cuts me off when I was younger, I would give them the finger and like be in a fight with them on the side of the road. Now I just go, whoa, that was crazy. Hey, let me see what other song I can put on the radio.
You got beat up often enough, you decided that was a bad plan, right?
Correct. Exactly. You're not going to win. Like sometimes it's just like, whoa, okay, you got somewhere to be that's more important than me. So
Right.
God bless you. Good luck. Hope you get there. Godspeed.
Yeah.
Let me talk to somebody else or turn on another radio station, another song.
Yep.
That's the approach that I take. I don't need to win someone over if they're angry. As a matter of fact, most of the time I've found that if somebody's really angry and I disarm them and win them over, and I've had this happen with clients in the past, that's normally a person that will come back to anger for something else at some point later.
100%.
And then you're constantly fighting that battle of disarming, winning them back over again, being good for a few days, and then all of a sudden they're mad again. And it's not always. We have to recognize this is also an extremely emotional time. So just because someone gets mad and yells at you doesn't mean that that's their MO. But it could be. We don't know. So if you have enough leads and you have enough business and you're confident enough in your ability to go sign another listing or get another purchase deal, go after the person that says, "Oh, I couldn't have done this without you. Thank you for sending me that letter. Thank you for calling me." Go after more of them. You could potentially ignore some of the people that are angry. With that said, just because they got mad doesn't mean that that's the type of person they are. I've gotten mad at people for calling me before. I've gotten angry with people. I've reacted out of anger, and I'm not really a hot-tempered person that comes to that a lot. So just because someone goes there doesn't mean it's who they are. It could mean that they're just emotional. So I would try to get permission to tell them what you really meant with the letter. I didn't realize that you might interpret it that way. That's dumb of me. Okay. I'm so sorry. Could I tell you what I really meant by that? Yes, you can. Maybe they say no, you can't. Guess what? No, you can't. No problem. Have a great day. I don't need to bother you again. Yes, you
Bruce.
can. Then expand a little bit.
Hey, Bruce, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think, it's great that Roger asked this question. Let's jump back if we can. I don't want to lose this today because I think it's important. I think if we can talk a little bit more about team building, and the reason I'm saying that is that's the key to having what you want to talk about there, that you do have a team that does provide the services and all of that. And I think I just kind of looked through the crowd that's on here today, and I know that a lot of these folks that are on here are kind of new to the game, getting started with this, and how best to go do that. We talked a little bit about a professional networking group as a way to do that, and how to do some outreach and all of that. I have a question, I think, about this as well. Part of the process of building a team is to know how things work in your local marketplace. And what I mean by that is that every market's not the same. There may be markets where, it depends on if you're in a large metro marketplace, you may have one kind of team. If you're in a rural marketplace, you may have another kind of team that you need. You probably don't need somebody who specializes in fixing water problems and well problems if you're in a metropolitan marketplace. It's all connected to the town sewer. But if you're in rural Virginia, it might be good to have somebody who focuses on fixing that well that doesn't work anymore. And I'm over dramatizing it, but I think the point is that you need to first sit back a second and say, all right, what do I want on my team? If I'm likely to see an opportunity in my marketplace, what are the types of things that people are going to need when they're looking at a property that may not have been well cared for, or something might have to happen to make it work, to make it more saleable, or any of the things that go with that. What's that team look like? And let's talk a little bit about how to build that team, Bruce.
Yep. I was looking for a book over my shoulder a second ago. If I look distracted, I was going to my bookshelf to see.
Didn't like what I said. I was kind of offended, but all right, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping that I had on my bookshelf the book Linchpin. That's what you guys are, is you're a linchpin. And if you don't know what a linchpin is, it's that teeny tiny little piece that goes in the tongue and the groove between a truck and a trailer, or a tractor and a wagon, or something like that. And you can hook these two big pieces together, a tractor and a trailer, okay? And without that teeny tiny little, what would appear to be an insignificant piece, none of it works, because the two pieces just fall apart. The two main components fall apart. And that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be a linchpin, a dot connector, a resource, someone to be able to put the pieces together. We're not individually all things to all people. We're not going with our lawnmower and unloading it out of the back of our minivan and cutting someone's grass. And we're not always changing locks and painting the inside of their house. And we're not always called to be the attorney that's filing the paperwork. What we're called to do, and what we're really our highest and best value is knowing those people, or knowing where to find them if we don't have them. And if somebody calls you and says, I need help with appraising my grandmother's art collection, and you don't have an art appraiser or an antiques appraiser, guess what? You're going to go get one. You're going to go get one. So you don't have to have all your connections before you start marketing and prospecting. It does help to be consistently growing and building your connections list, but you don't have to have everyone in order to go market and prospect. But you need to know how to find people, be resourceful, right? So one of the things that I do is I always start by trying to see if my market has a local concierge service. It's always the first place that I start. This could be a professional concierge. I don't know what their business is called in my area. If you Googled professional concierge, Raleigh, North Carolina, you would find a company called Consider It Done. Okay. And they work with busy professionals to help coordinate tasks and responsibilities. So first thing I do is I go to them and I say, who do you have that covers these things? Because guess what? They probably have a lot of the connections that I need anyway. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a package of their time and say, if I need to coordinate bids on paint, bids on HVAC repairs, bids on lawn care, can you call the contractors and can you meet them and can you coordinate these bids as an extension of my team? So first thing I'm trying to do is get someone that can take that off of my plate, yet still allow me to offer the service, the connections and the resource service. Okay. If I don't have someone like that that already runs a business like this, look up um, errand errand runners for shut-ins and busy professionals. There's likely people that already provide these services. They just don't know that they might provide it to someone in the real estate space. And then you could talk to them and kind of get them to repurpose the way that they're structuring their business for other people already. A lot of times they're doing it for an elderly shut-in. All right. They're already doing the work of coordinating these things. They just don't know that we need the service as well. So I'm always looking for a concierge service first. See if I can offload some of those responsibilities.
I'm sorry, just to carry forth with the theme you started with, you're recruiting your own linchpin.
Yeah.
You really are. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to be a linchpin, but there's no better way to be a linchpin than to go find if somebody's already a linchpin and you can just use them. Okay. So, and if you don't have one in your market, then you're going to do it, or you're going to go find someone that can do the coordination for you. One of the last things that I personally have time for is on every single property that I might see. I don't have the time to drive 40 minutes across town, 40 minutes back, wait for 5 contractors to get bids in. I need to be going out. I owe it to myself, my team members, and my business to be going out and generating new business. So I'm always trying to get that linchpin position filled somehow. Okay. And then I market that as though it's my own. Okay. Now, if I don't have the connections that I need, I make sure that on a weekly or a daily basis, I'm going into Facebook community groups and I'm looking for individual service providers that we might run across or need frequently. So let's pretend that I don't have an HVAC technician. And by the way, I don't have a property right now that needs an HVAC service. But let's say I don't have an HVAC technician. I'm going to go into a local Facebook community group and I'm going to say, hey, I need a good connection to an HVAC technician. Who do you know? If somebody says me, and they comment under and say me, I do that, I'm going to advise proceed with caution. Proceed with caution because you don't have, for that person that said me, I do that, you don't have any social proof behind it. They might be the best person in the world, but they might be the worst. And there's no really way to know without the social proof. So I'm looking for that person, that company that's tagged 3 or 4 times by other people saying, oh, you need to know this person. You need to know this person. You need to know this person. That's who I'm going to go try to build my relationship with. I'm going to talk to them about what I do, ask if they'd be interested in getting my referrals in this probate niche.
The other thing I'd like to suggest is that if you guys have property managers at your company, like I get the best referrals for she's a good friend of mine, but she's a property manager. So like everybody she's using is tried and true and tested. And if they're not good, then she's, already gotten rid of them and then on to the next. So like some of the best referrals I've ever gotten is from her. So if you know a property manager that does quite a bit of business, those people are the best resource for getting, contractors or painters or flooring guys or whatever you need.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
By the way, that's another way to recruit the linchpin, right? So go to the people that have the connections. That's a great idea. So you could go to your property managers and ask who they use. You could go find a linchpin, find a concierge service provider. If you're just missing people, go to social media community groups and ask. Okay. There's lots. And if you're doing that and you're really trying to build your list, do it once a day. If it's just the odds and ends person that you need, I only need 2 or 3 seats filled. Once a week, go into your community groups and say, hey, I need someone that does this. Who do you have? And then just start filling your spreadsheet with connections. In a perfect world, you guys are in it to grow a business, especially those of you that are realtors, especially those realtors. You're in it to grow a business. You need that voice-to-voice or face-to-face communication with your vendor, because guess what? That might be a great connection for you that could result in referrals and sphere of influence business as well. So just start building your list out, and always remember your linchpin. If somebody needs a service that you don't have a connection for, you can find it, and it doesn't take too long to find it. And I don't care how complicated the project is. It doesn't take long to find it.
You know, when there's a question, the solution will present itself. You know, it's just having the confidence to know, like, whatever situation that person may have, that you can find the right person. You know, I like Bruce's example. Like, if I was to give you $10,000, could you find a contractor? Like, every single one of us could do that right away. You know, and then it's just a matter of continuing to vet the people and make sure that you use a caveat when you refer them until you have people that you fully trust.
Yep.
You know, but it's a kind of a never ending process as you find people and then they leave the business, or you find out they're not quite as reliable as you might have hoped. But
Exactly.
yeah.
All right.
Bruce, I'll add one. I was going to add one more layer to that. Recently, my wife and I, our doctor retired. We were looking for a new one. I went into our neighborhood Next group, NEXT. They're nationwide. If you guys don't belong to the one in your neighborhood, I'd recommend it. I was actually the founder of mine about 8 years ago, and now they're everywhere. You guys have heard of them, but I just went in there and asked who could recommend a good doctor. We had 5 recommendations and 3 of them agreed. So we called and found a new doctor. So if you're not looking for a specific category, just join a generic group like that. There's always people that are willing to participate and give you good suggestions.
Not next door or
Next door. Yes, next door. Yeah. Sorry.
I was like, this is a new company I've never heard of.
It was Next, actually, when they started our group, but it is Next Door now. You're correct.
Sure.
I think it was sold. He was actually, there was an now, Tim, the company's been sold a couple times since the original founder.
I think you're talking about MySpace, Jim. That's where you lost.
No. It's Next Door. You know what I mean? Good generic place to start if you don't even know what other group to join.
All right, we are coming up near the top of the hour. We got about 9 minutes. It's been a quiet day for questions. I do have 2 chatted in questions. And unfortunately, Waleed, I personally don't have a good answer for you. Maybe one of the other coaches does. But the question is, are there any good genealogies companies that you can recommend? And I don't have a good answer on that particular question. Tim, Jim, Ken, do you guys?
If he would elaborate, what is he looking for? What does he
came
mean?
in on YouTube? So Waleed, if you're still listening, clarify, maybe elaborate and clarify in the comments, and it'll come to us.
I mean, Ancestry.com is the one that I'm familiar with, and I know that people in my family have people go in and actually enter their family information in there to try to find distant relatives, and we've run into some people that we didn't know that were branches of our family and all that. That's the only one that I'm aware of, but maybe he's got a more specific question, and it might have something to do with probate. If you're looking for decedents or things like that, that's a kind of an interesting but roundabout way to go do that. Actually, I hadn't even thought about it until just now. That's an interesting way to look at that. If you found the family on Ancestry and had the ability to go get it. I don't know enough about it to tell you whether that would work or not, but that's an interesting thing to think about. I never thought about that.
I'll give you one other one that I used. I'm holding up here. Legacy Tree was very good. I think they're competitors, but it was relatively inexpensive and found all kinds of things about my family.
Legacy itself is a company that basically focuses on obituaries and death notices, and I didn't know Legacy Tree as a company, but either of those certainly would work. But if Waleed elaborates at all, we would try and get you a better answer.
Yep. And Jim said legacy tree, so it could be something with a totally different name.
Right. It could be
Legacy Bush, like, yeah, so I held the book up. It's Legacy Tree.
Right.
Um,
Because obviously for every decedent there or every PR, there's 5 numbers. So I don't know why you'd go to a service when we have additional numbers in almost every single lead. I mean, if it's a wrong number, just go down the list of numbers. That would be first and foremost of the things to do. Unless you were given that as a gift or something like that. Again, we need more.
And I can't think of one reason, and this is a crazy one, but I can tell you that we've had circumstances where people have come out of the woodwork basically and said, hey, you know, I'm related to so-and-so, and, you know, I am a decedent, and, you know, the court's looking for them and they don't find them. And oftentimes the PR doesn't know how to go get them either. So it's a valid question in that arena, because in a court-ordered probate, the PR may have no clue, and it's necessary to find the heirs based on term of a will. You know, it might be the will specifies my last living heir, and that's literally anybody in that tree that goes back a good bit, and that's a search. So that's a reason for it. And that's just, it's great when we have something like this come up that, you know, we've never talked about in 10 years. That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Karen asked, what if a recommended provider on your team, or what if, I'm going to try to clarify the question. What if I have a recommended provider on my team and I'm liable as the one that recommended them? Karen, and I get this question from a lot of people. I will tell you my opinion. This is in no way a legal opinion, but I referred someone. They are not on my team. They're just someone that I've used. I go out of my way to clarify this is someone that I've used. I've had good success. I'll even coordinate an introduction and a bid for you. The decision is yours. And if I want to cover my bases, I'll even put it in writing. This is what I've found. Decision's yours. This is someone that has the best price, or that I've used before. I don't see that as adding a lot of liability. Okay.
It's no more than a testimonial, Bruce. I had it came up. It come up before as well. I mean, if you go and offer a testimonial to a company that, you know, did well for you, you're no more liable for the next person that, you know, you said they did a great job when they rebuilt my sewer and my septic tank in my yard, and the next person comes along and they did a horrible job, and, you know, their backyard is filled with sewage and they're looking for somebody to fix it, and the company didn't want to help them. It's like, well, you recommended them. There's nothing more.
If you say you have to use this person,
exactly,
there's going to be some liability.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people always recommend 2 lenders or 2, you know, whatever.
Yep.
And that way you say, hey, you know, choose who you feel better about, and also feel free to look for yourself. But I always like that disclaimer. Any referral that I give, there's always a disclaimer, like, they've done good for me, but you never know. Not everybody's reliable all the time.
So I would not say that on the phone. I would send that in an email. If I give a recommendation on the phone or verbally, I'm going to follow it up with an email that says, as I mentioned, here's the lender that I like to use. Here's the HVAC tech I like to use. Here's the landscaper I like to use. And then put your disclaimer in there. They've done good for me in the past. No guarantee they're going to be the best person for you.
Hey, Bruce, it's also an interesting way to maybe grow your team a bit by going to somebody. I'll use the same example I had, you know, hey, I've got, you know, I'm calling you because I've got one contractor that I've been recommending for work on septic tank systems, but I always like to have more than one because I want to give people a choice. Would you be interested in, you know, talking to me about your business and maybe becoming one of my preferred vendors in terms of doing that? That's a great way to help you build your team. You can add more people to that, and it's always better to have more. You know, you look better if you've got 2 or 3 of them in some cases than just the one. And you can say, you know, these are people that I've referred out before and have heard nothing but good things about them. If you ever hear anything bad, take them off your list, you know, but you can always say, I've never heard anything but good things about any of them, but I've got a lot of folks to give you an options with. And here they are, let me help you. And they didn't have to go do the work.
Yeah, and that also can be a piece of content as well. You know, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, but here's my vendor list,
Mhm.
and you can have, you know, 3 or 5 or 10 people that you think that they might possibly need, and then have that disclaimer at the bottom of the vendor list. But it's, you know, could also be used as content.
Yep. And if you're looking for content, guys, interview your vendors on a Zoom, record it, and put it on YouTube. If you're looking for content, go to your attorneys, your estate sale companies, your landscapers, your lenders, have an interview with them as an individual, ask a few questions about their business, put it into YouTube. Massive content explosion. So, all right. We are up against the top of the hour, and I don't see any other questions. Do we have anything to announce or anything before we kick it to Jim to take us home? Announce or anything to Jim to take us home?
Only thing I would remind everybody is that referral program going, and for anybody that you refer to us as a potential customer because you love us and we're great and you appreciate the value that we offer and things like this that we do, and you want to help somebody that you know do well in their business, we will drop you $50 worth of credit. We've got people that we do this for every month, and we'd like to have you do the same thing, and we'd love to add you to that, and we'll make you into an affiliate, and you can do lots of them in the course of a month. We certainly happily send out a lot of money to affiliate folks during the course of every month, and we'd like to add you to that list. So $50 a pop if you send us somebody.
Hey, Bruce, you're laughing because Tim sounded like one of the chip.
Yeah, like he had some helium.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, you gotta lay off the helium during the show.
Well, say it better than I did then, somebody, because I didn't mean to do that.
I posted the link to the referral program information in the Zoom chat, so everybody definitely take a look there, and I'll post that over on our streaming platforms as well.
Tim, I don't think it's you. It's a Zoom issue. It's some kind
Zoom's
of
acting up.
bandwidth issue or something. All right, well, let's get out of here before it gets worse, guys. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Particularly thank our team, Tim and Bruce and Ken, for all your great input, contribution, content. And I want to thank Will and Roger for actively participating. I want to challenge each of you, take one idea that inspired you, go out and put it into practice, and come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Have a great week. Same time next week, everybody. Take care.